Hey, what's up guys? It's your boy Speed here, and today I'm going to be going over one hero for every single role that I suggest you currently pick in solo queue. So we're going to be going from safe lane to mid lane to off lane to position 4 to position 5. I'm literally going to only give one hero that I think you should lock in, and if you pick this hero, whatever role it is, if you pick this hero, even if it's every single game, because of the power of the hero right now, you'll be absolutely fine. In fact, you might even be absolutely broken, and let's get into it. But before we do, I just want to say a couple things. Number one, smash the like button. It would mean the world if you could click that like button. Comment something down below. I don't know. Comment oatmeal. And finally, subscribe to the gameleap website. I recently just made a video where I talked about the huge differences between low rank immortals and high rank immortals. I do a huge replay analysis that basically covers, how even 2,000 ranks in terms of difference is a world's difference. And yeah, I show it to you guys so you can implement what I talk about into your games as well. All right, coming in for number one, the safe lane is Phantom Assassin. This hero has become very popular right now, and it's always very popular in pubs. But honestly, I don't even know exactly what changed. What's funny about Dota is a lot of the time heroes come in and out of the meta, in my opinion, and everyone's opinions, change on heroes just constantly. Not too long ago, I wasn't a fan of PA at all. I didn't think the hero was very good. I thought it had a very mediocre late game. I thought its laning stage was not the best, but things have changed. The major thing that I've noticed is a shift towards this Orb of Corrosion and skirmish playstyle on Phantom Assassin. There's two major ways to play PA right now. Number one is basically don't buy boots in the lane, maybe buy a stick. Don't buy Corrosion, and just rush Ring of Health. After Ring of Health, go Broadsword into the next Battle Fury damage item. I don't even know the name. Does anyone know the name of the other damage item from Battle Fury? I don't know what it is. You just rush a Battle Fury is the point. And from that, what you do is you just farm until you have Battle Fury, Shreds, maybe a Wand, Deso, and a BKB. When you hit that 3-item timing, that is typically when PA is at her peak in the game. Obviously an Aegis and Ags on top of that or whatever other item is nice as well, but that 3-item spike is when PA generally owns the game. However, we've seen a slight, and I mean slight, shift away from that. There's two other builds that you can go on PA right now that are quite interesting and very strong. Number one is the Corrosion build we talked about. You still can go Corrosion into Battle Fury, and I'll get into that in a second, but basically, the purpose here is you try to win the lane. Corrosion is applied with Stifling Dagger. That is PA's Q, that's the dagger. And it's really good, because basically what you do is you just spam it off cooldown. You can use it as much as you want, and often what you can even do is cast it on the position 4 when the position 5 is trading with the position 4, and this causes the position 5 to have a very severe advantage because they're naturally trading with the position 4 with reduced movement speed and, more importantly, reduced armor. And on top of that, it sets up this very deadly situation which you should be looking for when you're playing PA, where the position 5 can drop the position 4 to about a half HP or below, and then you cast your Phantom Strike, get on top of them, and finish the kill. And PA really does have some of the highest kill threat in the game. And that is why, if you're watching the pro scene right now, there's a couple of major heroes you'll see being picked with PA. Number 1 is Bane, number 2 is Undying, and number 3, I believe, is Abaddon. My favorite two by far are definitely Bane and definitely Undying. These are heroes that naturally just want to constantly trade. PA wants to do the same with these heroes, and you can get kill after kill after kill. After that, you can go back into Battle Fury, but some players, in fact, in the recent Tundra series, Skeeter went Maelstrom, which is another build you can go. It's a bit of a faster timing. It's better for fighting earlier on. And so if you feel like your team wants to play a bit of tempo, but you also want to scale at the same time, Maelstrom is an interesting alternative. Now let's get into the mid lane. This is position 2, and that is OD. I know, I even just made a video on it. I just made a video on Samel's OD, so if you're interested in learning how to play OD, definitely go recommend watching that video. But this hero, oh god, I can't stand how good it is right now. I just don't like it. I don't like it. It's being picked in the pro scene, it's being picked in pubs, it's owning in both. It's being picked as an offlaner, it's being picked as a mid laner. I'm sure people are gonna start picking it as a safe laner. I can almost guarantee that. I just think the meta's gonna shift in that way. But basically, here's what you do. You rush a Meteor Hammer. You're gonna get it around 6 to 7 minutes, and any time if someone shows, you just astral them into a Meteor Hammer, and it does about 2/3 of their HP. Yep. Astral and the Meteor Hammer does like 2/3 of most heroes' HP in the early game. Sometimes if they're tankier, it's a half. Oh no, only a half, you know? And Meteor Hammer is not a long cooldown. It's only a 24-second cooldown. 24! Guys, that is nothing! 24 seconds. All right, and as I just tested, Meteor Hammer on this 24-second cooldown does 150 damage on impact, so when it lands on you, it does 150 damage, and then for 6 seconds, takes for 90. That is about 500 damage total after resistances. After resistances, 500 damage on top of Astral, which is going to do about 250 after resistances. You are doing about 750 damage on a 24-second cooldown, and you basically can't dodge it. Only some heroes can, such as Puck and Ember. Even then, honestly, you can mess it up. 750 damage 6 minutes into the game. How many heroes can live through that? Or like are comfortable with taking that amount of damage? None. There's basically none. It just destroys you, and so you can't lane. Like when I've played so many games against Odie, and this is the feeling. You walk up, you're like, oh, he has Meteor Hammer, but it's whatever. I can tank one of them. You know, it's no big deal. I need to farm the wave, right? I need to shove the wave. You're playing like Quap, right? You're like, okay, I have to approach the wave. I need to farm it. Then he does the combo on you. It inevitably hits you because it's not hard to time it. Right? There's quite a bit of a gap where you can even mess it up and it will still hit them most of the time. And so you get comboed and then you just die. Because if Odie is ulti, and he manages to hit you once and ultis you, you die. It's like a 1400 damage combo 7 minutes into the game. And so I really do not like playing against Odie right now. It loses almost no lanes in the mid lane, like genuinely it almost never loses lane because it has really high armor, high damage, Astral to deny creeps. So what are the weaknesses? Well, the hero is not a great roamer. It doesn't move around the map very well. You basically have to stay in your lane, which isn't necessarily a problem, but in general, jump heroes and getting on top of OD is the way to counter it, but it's very hard. The build right now that most people are going is Meteor Hammer into Midas, into BKB, or some other defensive item, and then they just destroy. Coming in at number 3, the off lane, is Mars. I've been spamming this hero as of late, and it genuinely feels great. However, it's a very difficult hero. So if you're up for a challenge, I absolutely recommend Mars. I think this hero is in a great place right now. And here's why. Mars, for the longest time, had a bit of a problem in the offlane, especially in pubs for me, where I would play it, I would basically not scale ever. Okay, I would struggle to scale, and here's why. I would max out my spear, and then I would max out my W with no points in bulwark, and I would roam and I'd go for kills constantly. And this hasn't changed, right? You still go for kills when you have arena. But what happened to Mars is they actually heavily nerfed his ultimate, okay? It's not nearly as good as it was at level 1 anymore. It doesn't scale down in cooldown when you get levels. It's just a flat 90-second cooldown. And so the hero actually has to largely more so revolve around shoving waves, which it's very good at because it one-shots waves. If you pop Soul Ring, you'll have basically infinite mana to spear and God Rebuke waves. And so you can get very farmed. On top of that, in the lane, here's what I recommend. This is my favorite way to play Mars right now, and I highly recommend you guys give it a shot if you want to play this hero. You take God's Rebuke at level 1, use it to secure the range creep, very simple. In fact, what I often do to start the lane to create a creep advantage scenario where I can play more aggressive is I actually just straight up auto attack the range creep until it's in rebuke range and shove it in. It's quite effective. But at level 2, here's the difference. You take Bulwark. It's a 40% block, guys. Like, it's insane. 40%. Okay, 40% is a stupid high number, and you don't take any damage. On top of that, if you're against a ranged hero and you activate it in the laning stage, it has a 70% chance to redirect their auto attack. Meaning if you're against a Luna and she tries to last hit a creep and you have Bulwark active, there's a 70% chance she hits you instead of the creep, and then you can deny it, or she just misses it. 70! It's so abusable, and you might be like, oh, but then you're tanking the auto attack. You have Bulwark. You don't really tank any damage. Like, trust me, you take like no damage. It's actually no damage, because if you have Bulwark and then you get a Stout Shield proc, like the built-in melee Stout Shield proc, you don't take any damage. And that's just how it is. And so it's like you have some of the highest base damage in the game, you have a range creep secure, you don't take any damage, and so inevitably you end up scaling really well because it's very easy to get like 30 last hits by 5 and then like 60 to 70 by 10. Right, and you don't roam. You just, in fact, I recommend you max out God's Rebuke and you just shove the wave, nuke them down, shove the wave, nuke them down, and you're gonna scale, right? And then all of a sudden you have this team fighter who has the capability to solo kill cores, because what you go is armlet. You go, here's the item build, right? There's a couple of different builds, but personally what I've been liking to go is Bracer, right? So I start with a set of tangos, 2 branches, a gauntlet, Quelling Blade, and 2 mangoes. Then I go into Bracer. After Bracer, I go into Soul Ring. Sometimes if the lane is a little bit more difficult, instead of going Soul Ring, if I feel like I need more sustain, I'll rush Helm of the Iron Will, right, which is the armlet healing component. And then I'll go back into Soul Ring, into armlet, then into boots. And you might be like, oh, but no boots early on? Why can't I run people down? I can't, like I lose that capability. The thing is, you're just a wall. You don't miss any last hits, and you just create this wall. If the enemy approaches the wave, they can't kill you because you have Bulwark, and you just completely zone them off. It's ridiculously strong, it scales well, it's good team fight, it's just an all-around, very well-rounded hero if you play it this way, and I cannot recommend it enough. Coming in at number 4 is my favorite hero to grief pubs with, and that is Weaver. I legitimately love making people just not want to play the game. Here's why. The hero is one of the best laners in the game. If you haven't watched it, just go watch some Weaver 4 gameplay. It unironically solo kills people. Like, if you get Vessel on this hero, even in the laning stage pre-Vessel, if you bug someone and they're out of position, like, all you have to do, okay, listen to me. All you have to do to kill people on Weaver, this is it. Make sure you bug them when they are going on your offlaner. That's it. If you have a little bit of patience to make sure you cast bugs when the enemy is committed, or at least stunned, then you will own. You will own. You will kill them almost every single time. I had a lane recently. I was laning with a Doom, which is like mediocre, okay? It's like a mediocre Weaver lane. It's not, it's honestly quite strong if the Doom like takes his W and E, but this Doom didn't. He was trash. But they go on my Doom, who is like maxed out Devour, so he's not doing shit. But it doesn't matter. I bug him, and I basically solo kill the Ursa. He lived on like 1 HP, all right? Whatever. You know, it is what it is. Funny enough, my Doom ended up diving under the tier 1 with like 2/3 HP and dying. But the thing was, at the end of the game, and by the way, this hero farms so fast. At the end of the game, I was the second highest net worth on my team. I was higher net worth than the mid laner. And yeah, I was split pushing a lot and I was farming a lot. The reality is you can just scale on Weaver. You can just farm and farm and farm and scale and scale and scale. And it's so good in pubs. It's so good. If you learn in team fights to have a little bit of patience, get to the backline, don't cancel your Sakuchi early, make sure you use the majority of the duration so that you can have it up again as soon as possible. And then you bug some backliner, bug some support, Vessel them, hit, they die every single time. It's insane. So this hero is a great laner. And then you want to farm the dead lane. Don't focus too much on roaming in the early game, unless you have like a lot of initiators and that can set up for bugs really easily. Then you can roam around, you can make some plays. For the most part, play the dead lane, keep the game simple, get your farm up, and then anytime the enemy team makes a move, or if your team wants to smoke, join up, cast some bugs, try to hit as many heroes as possible. And finally, coming in at number 5 is BANE. Yeah, it's BANE. This hero got nerfed really hard. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It's just lane dominator, just wins lane. Nightmare, the fact that you can auto attack people during Nightmare is just kind of what makes this hero insane in my opinion. In the lane, like if you're a half HP, you just die. Like it's so sad. When you're playing against BANE, you always feel safe, and then he nightmares you, you're like, all right, whatever, I'm nightmaring, you know, like I'm half HP. And then you forget that he can auto attack you the entire time for like 60 damage a hit with pretty decent attack speed. Like base attack speed. You just die. Like you just die. There's not even too much to say about it. Like all you gotta do on BANE, and I know people are gonna mess this up, but try not to mess it up now. Just buy a bunch of mana regen. You will run out of mana if you're playing the hero even mildly correctly. Okay, here's what you need to do. In general, take Brain Sap at level 1. There's times to take Nightmare, for instance, against like Weaver. If you put down a sentry and he clicks Sakuchi and then you Nightmare him during the Sakuchi, he's gonna die when the Nightmare ends because he'll have no Sakuchi. It's a low armor range hero with no movement speed. So yes, there's times to take Nightmare to outplay people, set up in certain lanes, etc. But you want to take Nightmare, use it, trade. Buy a salve, buy a bunch of mangoes, buy Fairy Fire, buy a branch. Just buy a bunch of cheap stat trading items. Please don't buy like some shit windlace or something like that. Okay, do that. Then ship out a couple more mangoes, a sentry, a clarity, right? Some mana regen, maybe another salve if your lane needs it. And then at level 2, you'll almost always get a kill. Level 2 is your major spike. Like, compared to a lot of heroes, Nightmare Brain Sap, most people just can't trade. Because if they do, and you Nightmare, your safe laner will shift over if you tell them to, or if they're paying attention, and you'll kill them every single time. It's just how it is. By the way, Enfeeble's a stupid ability. I just want to put it out there. And I was even playing recently against a Bane who enfeebled me when I was IO, and it reduces healing by 45% at level 1. Which is insane. That's all I gotta say. You also grip people. All right, thank you for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Give these heroes a shot. They really are as strong as I'm saying. All of them are very, very reliable right now. Very, very strong in the current meta. You just gotta give them some time, practice them out, grind it out, and you are definitely gonna gain some MMR. But nonetheless, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one, and I'm out. Peace.
And that's all, but remember, before you leave, come on, before you tune out, subscribe to the GameLeap website where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below, and I'm out. Peace.